Welcome back guys, I'm Vic. This is my 1964 Jaguar Mk2 and today we're going to continue refitting the front suspension. So it was only halfway through doing the front suspension that I thought, hey, why not make some videos about this? I love watching videos of cars on YouTube, so I thought I'd try it myself. So before I started filming, I'd already taken everything off the car, which on a 1964 car is a pain. Most suspension parts have all been either just cleaned up or cleaned up and taken to the powder coaters. So they grip blasted all of this back and put some lovely hard powder coat on it for me, which should help this last a hell of a lot longer. Obviously, I've been very meticulous and saved all the bolts and bits and pieces that came off of each part, so the subframe, the left side, the right side. Unfortunately, I've got no idea how it all goes back together, so we're going to see how we can get this steering box and steering gear back onto the subframe. As with any restoration, there's always going to be a bump, and it's always going to happen at the very first stop. So I've just been through my bag of bolts for the subframe, and these are the two types of bolts that I need to put the steering rack on. I've got new ones for him, but I haven't got anyone in his size, so we're just going to have to crack on with the old bolts, and I'll see if I can pick some of those up later. As with any restoration project, there's a hell of a lot to do. So for the steering components that we just bolted on, they haven't been refurbished, they've just been cleaned up. I'm just going to get the suspension out of the way, and then I can come back to those later. So back to the reassembly, we've got these guys here. And really interesting, and I wanted to show you this, was so the top wishbones attached to here behind the turret on the cradle. So these are actually shimmed out by these here. So I guess that's where you can adjust the suspension, get your setup and tuning just right. But this is where labelling up beforehand pays dividends. So the drive before was okay, but I'm not ready to start messing about with the tuning of that. So these will just go exactly back where they went. Quite clever. They look just like that, and they slot in. As simple as that. For those guys who watched my last video, you'll know it was a right pain trying to get those lower wishbones to fit. But there they are, all ready to go. So we just put a little bit of lube on that and tap our home. Actually, I only really included this clip because I like the noise. So there we go, all looking great. So now it finally feels like it's coming together. After what's been months of setbacks and delays, I've now finally bolted all the new bits back onto the cradle, and we're going to raise him up and bolt him in. So it actually feels like it's going to be a car again. Take 2, method 2. Okay, this time it's going in. That would have been so much easier with another person. I've just wrecked my newly painted wheel wells. That's right, we can touch that back up again. But the cradle's up, mostly there. Just need to get the bolts in now. Oh, actually, do you want to see how badly I've wrecked the cradle? The wheel well. You can see in there just what an absolute mess this has made. Oh, thankfully, I think these new powder coated wishbones aren't damaged. It's just these big washers that did the damage. So our next job is to get the front springs in, and any health and safety police out there, they best look away right now. So ideally you'd use spring compressors like these guys to compress our spring, put it up, attach it all, then let the tension off the springs with these, and everything will be all safe. Unfortunately, when this guy goes up in there, there's not enough room to get spring compressors around, and that's what I found when I took it off. So we're gonna have to use a jack to get it up. So what we need to do is get this plate. Actually, I'll show you. So this spring sits on top of this plate, and we're going to use gradually smaller and smaller bolts. So these bolts come through these 6 holes here and bolt into there. So we're going to use the jack to just slowly jack this plate up and get the larger bolts in first, get it all safe, and then start using the bolts to slowly compress the spring up and get this guy seated. Wish me luck. We've got the jack under there now. I know it may look dodgy, but well, yeah, it is really dodgy. So we best get this guy up and compress quick, get some bolts in her so she's nice and stable and secured on there, and there's no chance of the spring just disappearing, and then the dangerous part's over and we can start tightening her up. So let's jack this guy up and see how close we are. Got to make sure these bolt holes are accessible. Okay, now the car's starting to move, so that's as far as I'm going to be able to compress the spring on the jack. See if we can get something in. How aligned are we? Not great. Spring stuck. We got a reusable cable tie now holding this guy up, so let's try death trap again. Okay, after what feels like probably 300 attempts, I've finally got 4 bolts into the suspension. So there we go, they're all holding up about right. Now there's 2 more bolts that have got to go in, and they live about in the middle there and the middle on that side as well. Oh, I can't get to that one in the middle there. Forgot about that, or didn't notice that, so I'll put him in first. But what I was going to say was, if we were now to just drop the suspension, there's nothing holding this in properly. So, oh, there we go. There's nothing holding this guy in properly. So what I'm going to do is put the hub on. We're going to fix him in now, so that when we finally drop this jack, the top suspension mount is going to bottom out on that rubber and actually hold all of that together, so that this guy doesn't just carry on going down, compressing the spring round and possibly popping out and being very dangerous. So we're going to put that last bolt in here that I missed, get that hub on, and yeah, then we can start dropping the jack. Yes, and now we just wind her up. Well, that's a lot harder than it should have been. It's taken me nearly all day, so I think we'll wrap it up there, and next time it's brakes, hubs, driving.